Hello, welcome to another weekly update. I hope you're keeping well. Thanks for joining me again. Lots of things happening this week. So next week is Microsoft Build, big developer conference, online only this year, of course. I did a blog post and video yesterday about it, my predictions, the sessions I'm looking forward to, so you can find that. That's kind of the first thing I wanted to call out, that blog post, and it's a YouTube video as well. So do whatever makes the most sense. The blog post has got all the links to the sessions that I think are interesting, and then the blog post also has the link to the video, or you can go straight to the video and listen for my predictions and the things that I think might be announced or I would be interested to see announced, and just my general kind of feelings about it being the way they're running it this year. That's kind of the first thing. If you haven't yet registered for Build, I think you should. It's free this year, so mybuild.microsoft.com is the second link I want to tell you about. Go and get registered there. You can get all the sessions in real time if you do that. I think they're going to be made available anyway, regardless of whether you've signed up or not, but this means that you can kind of build up the schedule, take part in like the Q&A and whatever, the kind of in like real-time version of Build, and they're doing multiple sessions across different time zones, so they're doing repeated sessions across time zones, so you should be able to find it at a kind of relatively good time for your time zone. That brings me on to some other blog posts actually which are coming out at the moment, and this is always quite a good time, the weekend before a big Microsoft conference, because a lot of stuff gets published that then gets referenced in the material that they then announce and talk about at Build. So it's a bit of a good chance to get some new content. So there's a blog post about a session that is being delivered at Build, and it's kind of a guide to the entire kind of Microsoft 365 development platform. So it's going to be, so who's there? Who's going to be there? Jeremy Fake is going to be there. Nikolai Metilev is going to be there. A number of other people are going to be there as well. They're going to build an app, a Microsoft Teams app from scratch. So this is interesting. So I'm reading this kind of for the first time. One of my predictions in the video I did yesterday was that we'd see more Teams-focused developer content at Build when Microsoft are talking about the Microsoft 365 developer platform. I think they'll use Teams as the examples. This is the first kind of confirmation that might well be true. They built the app they've chosen to build out is a Microsoft Teams app, not an Excel add-in, not an Office like a Word one, but a Teams one. So I think that's interesting. But they're going to build it from scratch, and it's going to take 2 hours and 45 minutes. And they're going to explain all the details and the decisions as they go through. I love those kind of sessions. I think they're really good. I think you learn a lot from them, especially when things go wrong. That's when you really start to learn stuff actually, because then you kind of get a feel for how to debug and how to find problems. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a good session, I think. You can also drop in and out. They're going to do like in 30-minute segments, so you can kind of pick a mix if you don't want to go in for the whole 3 hours. That sounds really good. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, what else is happening? So, this is good. So Graph Explorer. If you're not aware what Graph Explorer is, it's a website you can go to, and you can make graph calls without having to kind of do all the plumbings of your own app. It's a bit like Postman maybe, in the way you can just kind of send and make and receive, or make and get the responses to API calls just for Microsoft Graph. It's kind of tuned for Graph. It's built by the Graph team, and it's got a lot of samples in it. It's got a lot of help for making graph calls. There's a brand new version that's been in preview for a while that's now GA. So there's a number of exciting new features there. I won't go through them all. I'll put a link to the blog post about them. Permissions, the way they do permissions is better than the current one. There's a section for adaptive cards. There's a whole code snippets tab that's new. So it's kind of cool. And all the samples are going to be shown up front as well. You don't have to kind of click through and see them and like opt into the like different workloads to see the samples. You just kind of get them all up front, which is really nice. So that's exciting. Good to see that that's happening. That's the version, by the way, that came out for preview at Ignite, and it's now going GA for build. So this is kind of cool. Good to see that happening, because that's a really useful tool actually for anyone who does anything with that Graph Explorer. And finally, this is interesting. So a kind of call out to anyone doing Outlook API calls on Graph. So you may or may not know there's some throttling limits that got applied to the beta endpoints a while ago. I think I talked about it when they came at the time. It was quite a long time ago, maybe a year ago, something like that. I talked about them and how they sort of made sense, and just things to be aware of, and patterns and practices you should put into your app to make sure you're kind of respecting those throttling limits. Anyway, those throttling limits are being rolled into GA soon, I think. I don't know sure exactly when, but like it's happening. Oh yeah, I do know. It's in the blog post. I'm just kind of skim reading it now. June the 1st. So you've got a little bit of time to react. If you know that the stuff you're doing doesn't work in beta because of the throttling limits, then you've got a couple of weeks to sort it out before it goes to GA, because those are coming to GA soon. And that makes sense. They've been in beta for a year. Like, it makes sense to transition stuff from beta to 1.0, I think. Otherwise, beta just ends up as a massive kind of smorgasbord of stuff. I think it's good to keep that transition from beta to 1.0 going. So I think that's good. All right, that's everything I want to talk about this week. Yeah, it does feel like we're gearing up for a good build with these kind of announcements coming out. They're all kind of heading in the right direction, I think. It's exciting. I think it's going to be good. Looking forward to another conference. Kind of some of that energy. I think it'd be good to get all of us remote. So it'd be interesting to see if it's the same kind of vibe. But yeah, we'll just have to see. Ignite was I think was really good in terms of content and energy levels. So hopefully build will be the same. All right, have a great weekend. Stay safe, whatever it is you're doing, and I will speak to you again next time.